All right, hey, it's Friday, April 10th, um, 2020. Your weekly fishing report here at the Lake of the Ozarks. Just like the last few weeks, and this week's no different. A lot of things happening, a lot of things coming around, a lot of things working. A few more fish showing up. Some guys are really catching them, some are still kind of struggling. So, whichever end you're on, if you're on the struggling end, you're not the only one. If you're catching them, um, be glad because not everybody is. But things are really coming around. First off, the lake conditions. Things are really staying still. Gravois Arm and North Shore is going to be your clearest water. And it's still. I don't know, the clearest on the lake anyways. Everything else is pretty stained. All the other arms, Gravois, or not Gravois, Glaze, Osage, is stained. And mid-lake is all stained. The Nine is clearing off, so it's between the Nine the Gravois, lower Gravois anyways, and North Shore, that's your clearest water. But, as far as lake level, 654.8 right now. No, I'm sorry, 654.62, pulling 36,700 cubic foot, and they've been pulling, looks like 25,000 or above all day again today. So a lot of current. When they pull a lot of current like that, that'll really position these fish up as that water temp gets above 50, mid to upper 50s, and then fish get a lot more active, then they're going to relate to and position with that current a lot more. So, bluff end points, main lake points, secondary points. If you've got a big creek or even a real large cove and you kind of got long straight stretch and then you got these little pockets, those little corners, fish will really kind of hold up on them little corners and pockets. As that current comes out of these creeks, they get on them corners. So just treat those like you would a point. As far as baits, spinner baits still working. Good windy day, good Colorado blade. Spinner bait. Throw it on these bluff ends. And just like I like to do a lot, fish inside that bluff point, kind of the bluff, and down that bluff a little bit even. Just really run the wind on that pattern. Crankbaits, wiggle warts, rock crawlers are still working like that. But there's a lot of other things starting to work. This time of year, it's probably notorious is really good for the Carolina rig. I think back of many years of throwing a Carolina rig this time of year, and it can be extremely productive when the fish ain't necessarily feeding on the bottom real often, and they just want this bait kind of hanging out there. I like a half or 3/4 ounce weight. I always put a little glass bead between there and my swivel. Makes a lot of clicking noise. Protects that knot, from your weight slamming on it. I got a little swivel there. And then I've got about 2 foot of line right now since that water is stained. Several baits for Carolina rig. Everything from, French fry worm to a brush hog. I really like our little muskrat, the croquet little muskrat. It's just kind of a combination of different things. It's got a lot of legs, moves a lot of water. It's still kind of small and subtle. One thing with this I like to do is, dip not necessarily dip it, but mark the legs with short kind of start mimicking bluegills. As these bass get closer to spawning, they really start feeding on them bluegill and run them bluegills off. So anything you can do to make it look like a bluegill is going to be great. And probably most people know about it or seen it, but Zoom has these little marker sticks, chartreuse marker. These are the best thing they ever come out with. You can take that dye, that spike it, and throw it away. Because you're going to spill it in your boat, you're going to spill it in your seats, you're going to spill it on your fingers, wherever there. If you're going to use that, use it the night before. Dip a bunch of baits, put them in a bag, put them in your boat, leave that, dip it, and spike it at home, somewhere where it's not going to spill in your boat. But these little things are neat. The other thing that's coming on, and it's going to be a big player here, is the shaky head. You know, this time of year, your little 1/4 ounce crocodile shaky football head, or I'm sorry, shaky pro head with just a little zoom mag finesse worm. It's going to catch a ton of fish this time of year. One of my favorite baits. It seems to hook up, you know, a lot of fish, hooks them good, and you don't lose too many fish on the shaky heads. And that's a bait you can throw through brush, alongside docks, on points, bluffs, behind docks, you name it, you can throw a shaky head. So a real good bait to start throwing now. Of course, the jig's still going to be a player. You know, just a 1/2 ounce zapper with something that's going to move a lot of water. This peck of chunk. I like that bait. It really moves a lot of water. You can do the same thing. Spike or you know, mark them legs with chartreuse, kind of make it look like a bluegill. And right now, as far as the jig, flipping behind these docks where the catwalk hooks to your dock, that's going to be your high percentage area right now. Over them cables, back there, the big females will come and they'll hold up right there. You know, usually say, I don't know, 5 to 8 foot of water right there, and flip your jig in there and just let it sink down. A lot of these fish are hanging just below the foam, and they'll run out and grab that thing before it even hits the bottom. Another favorite bait this time of year, don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but some of the, I guess I'm an old timer now, I'm over 50, but some guys, you know, like even Wayne Fitzpatrick, he's a big believer in it. My partner John Sapper, you know, just a ton of guys that's been around forever, catching fish forever, is a tube, a 4-inch flipping tube. This time of year is just extremely productive. The thing is so, when it falls, it's real erratic. It moves different. It's got a lot of tentacles. It's just an extremely productive bait. And the way I like to rig this one is, I don't know if you've got jig heads, you know, our little zapper works good. It's got that little cone head. I just pull the weed guard out and stuff that thing up through the center of that hollow tubes. Just stuff it straight through there. Let just the eye poke out, and you can see how that sets on there just perfect. You know, it's a little wire hook. Gonna hook up with them real good, real quick, and you know, a good solid hookup. So the same thing with a jig there. Don't really want to throw this in brush. Obviously, no weed guard is going to get hung up, but this is excellent for when them fish, when you figure out that these fish are hitting the bait as it's falling, or as soon as it hits the bottom. This is the bait to throw. Flip that in there, and as it's sinking, they run out and grab it. You don't need that weed guard, and you get a good hookup. So try the tubes. You know, this black neon is probably my favorite. Black neon, green pumpkin, black and blue flake. You know, just, you know, whatever your favorite color is. But that tube this time of year is one of my favorite baits to throw. It just, you know, with that open exposed hook like that, when they grab it, there's not a lot of bait there. So when they grab it, they've got that hook in their mouth, and you're gonna hook up with them really good. So, you know, those baits right now. Obviously, the buzzbait bite, it's been coming on. It's still a little slow, but when it hits, it's going to be really good. So, you know, throw your buzzbaits. You know, it's like last week. There's a lot of things on the deck. I've been kind of fishing up the river, mid-lake. Tomorrow and next week, I'll probably be down lower lake. It's about time for it to turn on. So I'll be down there flipping behind them docks and Carolina rigging points, and you know, more baseball size when I'm Carolina rigging. Baseball size pea gravel mix is what you're looking for now. And even some of these pea gravel pockets, start really, you know, concentrating on some of them. Even with wiggle warts and things like that. Your stick baits, throw them in them little pea gravel pockets and work them a little quicker now. You know, the shaky head, all these baits, just start concentrating more pea gravel than the bigger rock. So You know, crappie's been excellent still. Still doing the same thing. Mainly just throwing a little 16th ounce head with a bobber. You know, about 3 foot up towards the backs of these creeks, or even up towards the bank. If you see some shallow brush around, just throw by that brush and just reel that bobber by it real slow and let that little jig do its work. And them fish are up in there, and you'll catch plenty of fish. Another bait for shooting. Anyways, you're getting a lot of bigger females out on the main lake docks and just coming in and just shooting a little 16 ounce. This is that electric chicken color. Has been working really good. Just shooting underneath these big swim platforms. Shoot it way back underneath there and just let it sink. You know, keep just a tight enough line, and enough slack that you can watch your line. So when that thing darts, you'll see it, you'll pick it up. So catch a lot of fish like that, or a lot of crappie like that, and a lot of them on the bobber. The bobber have still been a little bit smaller. The bigger ones have been coming, shooting them docks, or swimming over some little bit deeper brush. So, you know, other than that, that's about all I got. You know, things are going down here. It seems like it's just been a little weird. I think a lot of it's because of the current. You know, the water was dirty. You know, it was cool. It warms up. It cools back down. You know, we're going to have freezing temperatures tonight. So, you know, the fish know that. It seems like they know it, and they know how to react. They don't commit to those shallow, where they're going to spawn, or if they do, when we get these cold front, they're going to back right back out. They're going to back out to a little bigger rock or a little steeper bank, you know. So, you know, if it gets tough on you, you know, just go back to the jig, go back to the swamp bug, something small, subtle. When we get a cold front like this in the spring, it really affects these fish more so in the spring than it does the fall. The fall seems like it turns them on a lot of times. So, you know, just keep that in mind if we have some cold nights. But it's going to warm right back up, and it's getting close. The dogwoods are blooming. People are finding mushrooms. Well, at least Bob Rankin is. I don't know about anyone else. But, you know, when that's happening, the fish are coming in to spawn. It's that time of year. So the big ones are going to show up. And, you know, come down here, enjoy the lake, and be courteous out there, and just have a good time. So, till next week, we'll see you.